Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Nerd News. I'm your host, Evan from HIMedia, and Phil Spencer says he's open to bringing stores like Epic and itch.io to Xbox consoles. Could PC Digital Storefront end up on Xbox? This is written by Andy Chalk from PC Gamer. Historically, exclusive game releases have been a powerful weapon in the console war, blah, blah, blah. It was a big deal earlier this year when rumors that Microsoft was planning to bring Xbox exclusive games to PlayStation first began to surface. That ultimately proved to be true. Speaking at Polygon at GDC, Phil Spencer said that the shift is aimed at helping to restore growth to the industry by making more games available to more people on more platforms, something younger gamers tend to take for granted. In an interview with Polygon, he said that Microsoft is now leaning away from the strategy of uh, exclusivity to the point where he's even open to the idea of having things like Epic and HIO on consoles. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. This is a patently pro-consumer move. This is, you know, the goal of like Xbox, like becoming a platform for games, and people becoming invested in them in regards to, hey, I own a huge backlog of games digitally on Xbox. I should probably get an Xbox. And also, I don't need to buy a PC to play all these other games because they're all available on Xbox as well. Is a patently more pro consumer strategy, and the death of exclusivity, I think, is generally a good thing. The people who are like, the console wars are over. We had multiple generations of it. We had, like after the death of Atari, you had the, Nintendo versus Sega, and then Sony versus Xbox. But like, Sony is still holding on to that kind of exclusivity, and it's kind of hurting them in certain ways, I think. Xbox definitely is the more consumer friendly platform, and I know, and while I do have a lot of issues with Microsoft and Xbox as companies, I do think that by and large, if you are trying to like have a gaming console and you're trying to like enjoy video games, I think the combination of an Xbox One S, which is cost the same amount as a Nintendo Switch, $300, and a monthly Xbox Game Pass subscription, which gives you the online internet version too for $15 a month, I think personally is a huge value proposition. And the fact that Sony continues to lag behind in that regard and using things like the court to like stop Xbox from making those moves is kind of cringe. At the end of the day, we're we're like a oligopoly at this point. Like we have they're like the Xbox buying Activision and all that in the antitrust cases around it are kind of unfounded. Just because I mean are founded, but like we're kind of at a point with gaming where it's like, what else do you expect? This is kind of how the technology is sussed out. Like if we had if gaming consoles were like the hardware for them was open source, and the platform, and you could just play for the platforms themselves, like I think that would probably be best. Like I would rather, I wish we lived in a world where there was like where like there was, it's managed by a nonprofit foundation. There's a nonprofit foundation that regulates the standardizations of like how of like what like the best practices and the minimum expectation of what a console is supposed to have, and then anybody can sell that console to those specs, and you can, and there's plenty of ways to update it and have better graphics and things of that nature and more RAM and all sorts of stuff. But functionally, at the end of the day, like that's a pipe dream, and we live in an environment where like yes, we live in a democracy, but our workplaces are dictatorships. So like we don't get to have nice things. Regardless, I think this is a good thing all in all, and I look forward to being able to play Buckshot Roulette on my Xbox One S. Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, your time, and your listenership. If you want to support the show, go to himedia.gg/dip, and I will see you guys next time. Have a go.